Most people view wealth as a straight line, but the start feels like moving a mountain. You save, you sacrifice, yet the needle barely seems to flicker. This is the dead zone, where your effort vastly outweighs your investment returns. Historically, the first $50,000 is the ultimate test of psychological friction. It's the point where most investors give up, assuming the math simply doesn't work. But there is a specific crossover point where the physics of your money begins to change. Why is this initial stretch so uniquely difficult compared to everything that follows? It's because at the start, 100% of your portfolio's growth is fueled by your labor. If you save $5,000 and earn a 7% return, that's only $350. In many cases, that $350 feels insignificant compared to the effort of skipping a vacation. This is the behavioral trap. Low visibility of progress leads to high rates of abandonment. We are wired for immediate feedback, but compounding is a game of delayed recognition. Think of your first $50,000 like building a snowball from scratch. Initially, you are picking up every flake by hand. It's slow, cold, and repetitive. You have no surface area. The ball is too small to gather its own momentum. This is where most people get tired and stop rolling. Let's look at the logical breakdown of how the workload shifts over time. The frame slides in from the top. To get to $50,000, typically 90% of the total value comes from your deposits. You are doing almost all the heavy lifting. Your money is still on orientation.
It feels like you're running up a down escalator.
At the $25,000 mark, something subtle happens to your psychology. You finally have enough skin in the game to care about the red days. Paradoxically, this is the most dangerous time for the itch. $25,000 feels like real money, and the urge to spend it on lifestyle upgrades is at its peak. But if you spend it now, you kill the snowball while it's still an ice cube. What tends to happen is a plateau of boredom. You've been saving for 2 or 3 years, and you're still not even halfway to 6 figures.
This is where behavioral discipline separates the wealthy from the average. Historically, the average investor stops here and buys a truck. The wealthy investor looks at $25,000 and sees the seed of $500,000. Let's visualize the leaking bucket trap one more time. At $30,000, your returns are roughly $2,100 a year on average. That covers your grocery bill for a few months. This is the first taste of passive subsistence. It's not freedom yet, but it's a proof of concept. When you see your money buy your food, your brain stops viewing saving as a loss. You start viewing every dollar as a worker you've hired. By $40,000, you have a small army of 40,000 workers. They work while you sleep. They work while you're sick. They never ask for a raise, they just compound. Then you hit it, the $50,000 milestone. This is the psychological escape velocity. At this point, the math shifts from addition to multiplication. On average, a $50K portfolio earns $3,500 a year. If you are saving $10,000 a year, your money is now doing 35% of the work for you. You are no longer alone in the trenches. The second $50,000 is always easier than the first, because you have the wind of compounding at your back. Typically, it takes about 5 to 7 years to save your first $50K. It often takes only 3 to 4 years to get the next $50K. The time compression is the physical manifestation of wealth. You are trading less of your life for more of your freedom. This is the wealth shift.
At $50,000, your portfolio volatility might exceed your monthly savings.
This is a milestone of maturity. You stop watching the price and start watching the process.
Historically, the markets are a voting machine in the short term, but a weighing machine in the long term.
By $50K, you finally put some weight on the scale.
You are no longer just a spectator. You are an owner.
Owners don't panic when the house needs a new coat of paint. They understand that the underlying structure is sound. Now, let's look ahead to the $100,000 mark.
This is where Charlie Munger famously said, "You have to do it." At $100,000, a 7% return is $7,000. That is more than most people's annual contributions.
Your money is now working harder than you are.
This is the moment your life changes, not because you are rich, but because you are unstoppable. The stress of the first $50 is replaced by the excitement of the next $500K. Because you've already won the hardest battle, the battle against your own impatience. What tends to happen next is a shift in lifestyle focus. You realize that buying back your time is the ultimate luxury. Historically, those who reach $100K rarely fall back to zero. You have built a capital base that acts as a financial fortress. Even if you stop saving today, that $100K would likely grow to $1 million in 30 years. You have already retired your future self. Now, everything else you save is just for the speed of your freedom. Let's recap the step-by-step clarity. First, survival. Then, friction. Next, crossover. And finally, freedom. First, maximize your deposits. Labor is your primary engine. Second, plug the leaks. Discipline is your primary filter. Third, ignore the noise. Patience is your primary fuel. Third, ignore the noise. Patience is your primary fuel. And fourth, trust the math. Compounding is your primary partner. If you are at $1,000 today, don't look at the $50,000 gap. Look at this single coin right here. This is how you start. Look at the next $1,000. The mountain is moved one pebble at a time. In many cases, the habit of saving is more valuable than the amount saved. Because a habit lasts a lifetime. A balance can be spent in a day. Stay in the game long enough for the math to start working for you. Don't interrupt the compounding unnecessarily.
Let the roots get deep. Let the snowball get heavy. Let the flywheel get fast. You are closer than you think.
The friction you feel today is just the heat of progress.
It's the sound of the boulder finally starting to move. Your first $50,000 will be your hardest.
But it will also be your most important. Because once you've done it, you know the secret.
The secret is that wealth is a choice of endurance over excitement.
Stick to the plan.
I'll see you at the milestone.